third-generation Seattleite. He serves as principal of Nathan Hale High School in Seattle Public Schools and is also an instructor in the college's Danforth Educational Leadership and Leadership for Learning programs. Dr. Jackson earned his doctorate in Educational Leadership and Policy Studies from our Leadership for Learning program in 2021. Please help me welcome Dr. Jackson to the podium.
Thank you, Dean Twan. Welcome, friends and family. Congratulations to the class of 2024. I'm honored to be here this evening. I lead through radical love. As an educator, my why is shaped by equity, access, justice, and I actualize these values by centering student voice for justice and through learning and honoring the cultural wealth and beliefs of my fellow educators and students and their families to ensure that I am culturally responsive, loving, caring, and justice-centered. When a student, family, or community member, particularly a student of color, and even more particularly a Black student, shares a need and addresses a need in our school community, I see it as my responsibility to respond to that need by listening to what the student expresses and gather resources to ensure that those needs are met. This could be through investing in professional development for my staff, allocating budget to support various programs, events or initiatives, rethinking staffing and scheduling, and even taking more radical approaches like bringing students to staff meetings and really shaking things up a bit, encouraging them to share their concerns. This has had profound impacts in our school. For example, when representatives from our Black Student Union joined a staff meeting to express their desire to make change in our school community, particularly with the curriculum and changing practices in our school culture to be more inclusive of their experiences, requesting that we add Black studies and ethnic studies to our course selections, we listened and we made those changes. Unsurprisingly, expanding our course selections led to positive change, higher academic outcomes, and more positive student engagement. So centering student needs is a value and a practice that creates the conditions for success. I would also like to take this as an opportunity to share about my background. So who am I? As Dean Twan mentioned, I'm a third-generation Seattleite. My grandfather, William Jackson, came to Seattle from Alabama. When he arrived here in the 50s, he found barriers similar to what he had experienced while coming of age in the Deep South in the 30s and 40s. These barriers just looked different. The only neighborhood he could bring his family to was right up the street, the Central District. Understanding the limitations put on them, my grandfather and grandmother gifted their 5 children with strong values, a withedness to understand systems, and a determination to never give up. My father, William Jackson, a second-generation Seattleite, and a graduate of Franklin High School up the street, began working right out of high school. Although my father had more access than his father, he also encountered barriers in the workplace and could not step into leadership roles. Nonetheless, with great resolve to support my family, my father worked 3 jobs. He was a Safeway clerk, he still is a Metro Transit bus driver, and he was a gas station clerk. So he gifted me with determination, drive, an unimpeachable work ethic, and a never ever quit, no matter what attitude. Similarly, my mother, Teresa Jackson, Miss Black Seattle of 1979, rest in paradise, gifted me with love, courage, and joy. She learned these values while serving in the homes of teen parents and community centers, ensuring that Black and brown kids in our community had access to care, love, food, and support. So my phenomenal parents and grandparents were my teachers, my original teachers, and I was their pupil. So as I lead for justice, centering access and equity through radical love, I carry the deferred dreams and the legacy of service and survivance that my family left me and pass those forward to the generations that will thrive after me. my daughter that's on the way, my niece and nephew, and all the future children and relatives 7 generations beyond. All this came from a gentleman who said he needed to get paid a decent wage in Alabama and took his family to Seattle to build a better life. So what does all this mean for you? For those of you who are stepping into classrooms, schools, policymakers, leadership roles, I encourage you to take the wisdom and the fruits of your family, your community, your UW College of Education families, and cast them for your future and the generations after you. Learn from your students and let what you learn shape and guide how you lead. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. I'm grateful that you are all the ones that will change the world by leading with love and a fierce lens of equity and justice. Congratulations to the class of 2024.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson. It's my pleasure now to introduce our graduate student speaker, Muchachi Edelstein.